I wear a cross. In Islamic eschatology, in the end times, it says in detail that we are going to unite with the Christians who are most similar like you, and I think that's a reference to the East Orthodox Christianity. So the Russia.
Okay.
Greece.
Been watching Sheikh Imran Hussein?
Yeah, I'm a subscriber to him.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I get a lot of my information from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does he respond? Sheikh Imran Hussein is a Sunni Muslim sheikh, right?
Yeah.
Who specialises in the end times.
End times, yeah.
Ilmu akhir zaman, as he
That's
calls
right.
it.
You can pronounce it better than me. Yeah.
Final stages of history, and he talks about this union that will come between the, as he puts it, the Orthodox Christians.
Yeah.
But when it says you will make an alliance with Rome,
Yeah.
Rome meaning Rome, he takes Rome to mean the Byzantine Empire, which was the Eastern Orthodox Church, which is in modern times Russia, Serbia, Greece, all of these countries. The hadith that mentions you will make an alliance with Rome also mentions that the Muslims and Rome together will be victorious.
Yeah.
And after that, someone of the Christians will rise up and say the cross has been victorious,
Right.
and then the Muslims and Rome will have a war with each other.
Yes.
How do you interpret that one?
What I interpret is basically.
Because that sounds like a temporary alliance.
Yeah,
with Rome.
but that shows the issue that I'm trying to address by the cross. It's that there's always individuals in groups who try and make differences. When that time comes where after the Muslims and Christians unite and then there'll be a next conflict, that is due to the narcissism of differences. People have a narcissism of different differences, so they will set off a reaction.
I think what the Sheikh says on that is that this is either talking about a different room, or it's a part of the hadith that might be weak. Because he says if any part of a hadith negates something in the Quran, then we should dismiss it.
Dismiss it, yeah. But what?
And the Quran talks positively about room. This is what the Sheikh says, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
What the Sheikh is trying to imply is that when we come to a realization that we have something in common, that's when Russia and the East Orthodox world will come with the Muslim world and we'll fight the common enemy. Okay. When we then turn on each other, it's because someone on both sides is trying to develop another war.
It's just very disappointing to read such a positive hadith about unity, and like you're doing, wearing the cross even though you're Muslim and bringing people together, but then read to the end of it and you say, oh no, it's just religious people fighting each other again, and the Muslims will fight against the Christians having united with them. Those are the things that really put me off religion.
Yeah, that really...
When I see someone like you bringing people together, I'm like, great, and he's religious, I'll have whatever type of religion he's having.
Yeah.
But there always seems to be a negative aspect of, but we're right at the end of the day and you're wrong.
Yeah, and that's wrong. Everyone is right. Prior, you remain a good person and you respect other people. You can't go wrong if you're a good person and you respect other people. You have basic manners. If you have those things in place, you're all right. But the thing is, people, you give them everything they desire, they want more. You get a Muslim, yeah, he's a Muslim, but he wants more. He wants to feel empowered. He wants to feel egotistical. So, unfortunately, religion has a lot of followers. It can easily go out of control very easily. So, the point of this, we must basically emphasize further on this thing we're talking about, how the Muslims and the Christians will unite. Because if we don't acknowledge that this has been written in the Quran, then it's going to be very hard to see my point. The only time we're going to have conflict is when we believe we're worshipping different gods. The moment you realize we're all worshipping the same God, we will always remain bounded, we'll always remain together. It is just the unrighteous ones in these respective religions who unfortunately make their way up on the top and ruin it for everyone else. So I hope by what I do, I will riddle out the unrighteous, and they will be they'll be on everyone's radar. Because if you're for disunity, I don't believe you're worshipping the God that all the respective religions worship. Because God is all about unity. God is merciful. God is forgiving. Do you think God would approve of Muslims and Christians fighting each other? Doesn't make any logical sense. Why do we have bones in our body? Because the bones protect our organs from being crushed. So why should a cross around the neck of a Muslim be the reason why we kill each other and destroy our organs that God gave us? So no, God made us so we can live as long as we can on this planet in peace with each other. So peace is the only way to God.
You mentioned Modine.
Yeah.
You said he's more into unity.
Yeah.
Is that because he's Shia?
It's not because he's Shia, it's because I believe he got the true essence of Islam out of the Quran.
Do you think Shias are more inclined to say let's be all about unity because they're in a minority, and if they don't say it, they'd be very easily oppressed?
No, because they know what it's like to be oppressed. After what happened to Ali, he was assassinated while he was praying. So they know what it's like to be oppressed, and they know there must be an infiltrator within Islam, and nobody's batting an eyelid to this infiltrator. Nobody's bringing attention to this infiltrator. They're merely just commemorating the deceased grandson of the Prophet, and then the corrupt so-called Sunnis are saying, "Oh, get over it. Stop mentioning his name." But they're just momentarily mourning the Prophet's grandson. So there's nothing wrong with the Shias. And as a matter of fact, in politics today, the Shias today, I believe, are leading the way in Islam, because Saudi Arabia is the house of the Sunnis, and they have been corrupted by the American dollar. All of the majority Sunni Muslim countries have all been bought off by America and Israel. They're all cooperating with each other. Why? How is it so? These countries do not like Iran. These countries don't like Shias. These countries don't like secular Muslim countries. Why? Why do you think Syria today under Bashar Assad is being destroyed? Because it's a secular Muslim country. The Zionists' biggest nightmare is seeing Muslims, Christians and Jews living in harmony. Israel attacked Syria on Christmas Day, when Christians and Muslims were celebrating in Damascus, the same city Jesus walked around in, the same city Prophet Muhammad walked around in. Jews and Christians and Muslims were celebrating it on Christmas in Damascus, and Israel used that day to bomb Syria. What does that tell you about their agenda? They don't like secular Muslim countries, and that's why Speaker's Corner is a very good place to plant agents of division. So you plant agents in the Muslim religion, you plant agents in the Christian religion, and you get these guys on camera, and then you hope the followers of this faith will follow the speaker instead of God. They'll follow the priest, or they'll follow the imam instead of God. The imam can be corrupted, God cannot be corrupted. The priest can be corrupted, God cannot be corrupted. So this is why they use these so-called holy people to represent religion, because you can corrupt them. And that's why religion has such a bad name. Many people turn to atheism because they say, oh look, when I go Speaker's Corner or when I go anywhere, it's always religion arguing with each other. And that's why my brother, when he saw a Muslim with a Christian cross, he was curious about what I worship, because he saw what we all feel. Religion shouldn't be in conflict with each other if it's claiming to be holy, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of religion that's void of spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like our friend, was it Navid, was saying, the jinn are bereft of any creativity. They can't create anything. They can only destroy. If you're a literalist, you can't be creative. You can't get an analogy. You can't understand any deeper meaning than a black and white. No, but it says this, therefore.
Right. It's a very animalistic, primitive way of thinking, spiritually way of thinking.
Very, very literalist. Very lacking in any kind of creativity.
Diversity. Yeah.
I'm a left-handed person, right? And people say that left-handed people are more creative, and I get that from left-handed people. I teach in schools, and when I see left-handed kids, I'm like, oh, are you creative? I mean, it is a stereotype, but I think
there's something to it.
There is a reality to it, because you're using the other side of the brain. Left-handed people are right brain dominant, and the world is run by left brain dominant people, the literalists, the ones void of any spirituality, any sort of creativity, that want to tell you, no, it's black and white, no, God, 7 days. I don't know what you believe about creation, but the literalist will say, no, it was 7 days, it was Adam and Eve. I'm like, why can't
interestingly enough, there's 7 colours in a rainbow. There's 7 seas and 7 continents. If you consider Alaska a continent.
Okay.
So you can see how it's all interwoven.
Yeah, and 7 days a week.
7 days a week. And on a Sunday, that's when Christians go to church, on the 7th day.
Seven deadly sins. The 7th day is actually Saturday and not Sunday.
Yeah?
And that got changed by the Roman Church at some point, and Seventh Day Adventists will always, they've gone back to celebrating it on Saturday. I mean, the Shabbat, the Sabbath, Yom HaSabt, Sabbath is 7 in Arabic and Hebrew. Yom Al-Ahad is Sunday, is the first day.
Well, you know.
There's so much.
You're well read.
There's so much there. There's so much symbology. I'm very interested in understanding all these meanings, and it won't be just a literal black and white meaning. There'll be something deeper to it.
And you know, the human body does whatever it takes for you to not catch disease, or for the body to receive damage. So God's way is just simply unification. If you have friction, conflict, that is not God's way. Because when you get conflict, you're asking to be hurt. But we're made so we don't get hurt, to live, so we can live as long as we can on this realm called Earth. So conflict makes us cease to live. It brings death. So that's how you know those who are pushing for division, they are not pushing God's word. They are pushing their own agenda. If you want to sell weapons, you need 2 teams minimum to sell weapons. You can't sell weapons to one team, because how are they going to be in conflict if there's just one whole team?
That's right.
And that's why they also love civil wars. And I believe there's a Zionist, Jewish-backed agenda out there. And I'm not saying all problems come from Jews.
Just to bring that up, I mean, most Zionists are not Jews. I would say there's more right-wing Christian Zionists than there are probably Jews in the world.
Right.
There's only maybe 15 million Jews in the world. The right-wing Christian fanatical Zionists, there's probably 30 million of them in Texas.
Yeah, but they always think highly of the Jews. They see them as they're on their side. Basically, these far right people, they always have something. They support Israel for whatever reason. Okay, and if you come to Speaker's Corner long enough, you'll come to find there's only ever 3 or 2 Jews. Most of the people come here are either Christian, atheist, and Muslim. Ask yourself why not many Jews come down here. It's because they run the show.
Jews in the world.
Huh?
There's not many Jews in England.
There is a lot of Jews.
Not as many as there are Muslims.
Yeah, but to be fair, as a minority, they are well organized and well settled here. You would think they would be here.
You think there would be more?
Yeah, because you know Stamford Hill, they have their own hospital, their own ambulance.
Possibly. I must say, I chat to a few of the Jewish guys here. Some are Zionists, some are not. They've always been very polite to me and very friendly. And whether I agree with them or not, I had a chat with Joseph. On the last one before Christmas, and I described myself as an anti-Zionist, and he did challenge me on it and said, why can't you put it, I'm pro-Palestinian, and that doesn't mean that you have to be anti-Zionist. And I took on board what he said, and he made good points to me.
The reason why, if you were to say you're pro-Palestinian, he's going to make that seem like, oh, okay, that's an isolated thing. Zionism is a war on humanity as a whole. So if you don't say Zionism, you're not waking up the other people who don't think they're having a war with Israel. If you say Zionism, everyone will realize there's a common enemy.
But there are many. There's a broad spectrum of opinion within Zionism, just as there is within Judaism. If you were a Zionist who went by the Balfour Declaration that said there should be a homeland for Jewish people in the land of Palestine, not at the expense of the local inhabitants,
and I would
that's acceptable.
I'll accept that.
That's a form of Zionism. That I could accept, and
without doubt, they deserve a homeland. Of course.
But the only problem is when you say any Jewish person in the world can live there tomorrow. But there's people born there who can't. Because of their race. Then
that's
you've got
when you have an issue.
But it's just going deeper again and seeing that a label is one thing. I use the term anti-Zionist to differentiate myself from the anti-Semites, because there are people who object to Israel because they hate Jews, and we must root them out of our ranks. Because
not all Jews are bad.
Well, not all Jews are bad, and because they will make our cause look bad. We don't want the racists on our side. We want the people that are standing up for equal rights for all people, Jews, Muslims, Christians, or non-believers in the Holy Land.
The Zionist Christians, why did they have so much animosity towards the Muslims when the Muslims were not the ones who executed Christ? It was the Pharisees, the Zionists, who executed Christ, but they are united for some reason. And in the Quran, it speaks of a Judeo-Christian alliance that's already in that stage with the selection of Trump. Trump has made Jerusalem the capital of Israel, and it's fact America is probably the most powerful Christian country. So of that Judeo-Christian alliance the Quran speaks of, it's happening today.